All right, thank you for staying with us. Former Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has suggested a review of tenancy laws in states to compel landlords to collect rent monthly. Mr. Fashola brought up this issue during the launch of his book titled Nigerian Public Discourse, the interplay of empirical evidence and hyperbole, held in Lagos last Thursday. He pointed out that the current system of demanding advance payment of rent up to 3 years or more is making life difficult for tenants. He also noted that many houses are unoccupied due to the way rents are being collected. Mr. Fashola believes that accurate data is essential for better planning in the country and that data is the most important currency in the world, which no central bank could print. Fashola added that the Nigerian government can bring down the rent payment period from 3 years to 1 year and hopefully bring it down to 6 months to coincide with when people get paid at the end of the month instead of in advance. Well, joining us via Zoom is the MD CEO, Goodly Heritage Properties, and also a real estate broker, Olubukola Oloruntoba. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, this statement by the former Minister of Power, Works and Housing is similarly generating some reaction, and he referred to the Lagos tenancy law. I want to begin from that part, that aspect, talking about Lagos tenancy law, how it has fared in the whole years that it was implemented. Have we been able to achieve this 1 month tenancy payment? And if not, what has been the challenge?
All right, thank you. We've not been able to achieve this in the last 1 year because, Nigeria with our own peculiarity, some of the people who are working don't get paid as at when due. So in this case, it is very difficult for tenants to pay monthly. I have a lot of friends calling me, telling me they have challenges about their employees not giving them salary as at when due. So I think the 1 month tenure is just fine. At least everybody will be able to plan within 1 year to pay the rent. But for short let, it is possible because people are paying per night for short let. It's only short let that have been able to achieve this. Thank you.
Right, but there are complaints, and it's not just Lagos, but Lagos has a peculiar situation of, abuse of the system, despite a law in place, like my colleague said, that, stops this issue of 2 years rent, 3 years rent, and all of that. So tenants are complaining the landlords are not, considering their situation, especially with the socioeconomic condition of things. So how then do we ensure that tenants are not, put at the, receiving end, so to speak, of harsh landlords?
Okay. I think the best thing is if you can have a portal that work, it will work. Because if you have a portal and we have real estate agents going to the portal to to report report any landlord that is not going by the plan. That is the only way out. But unfortunately, it's not happening because even the there's a company that is handling the RIDAN, that's Nigerian Association of Developers, and we have a portal that we're supposed to be lodging complaints, and the portal has not been working even till now. So that is the only system that can work for us. Let's have a particular place that we can lay complaints if all this is happening. If we can have a system that works, that is the only way that we can achieve it.
I see. A structure in place is what you are saying, but let's even take this matter further. We keep seeing owners of properties hiking the price of properties, even despite the economic situation. And we are finding, well, we say tenants are saying they're finding it difficult to pay for some of those properties. Can there be some system in place that owners of properties can arrange with perhaps the tenants to say, you know what, you may not be able to pay 1 year, but we'll break it down for you in this manner, and then you can hold the tenant to account when they default. Is that possible?
It's going to be very difficult because, we are all in business for ourselves. So it's very, very difficult, especially in this side of town. In Nigeria, we don't have structure, we don't have system that work. This is the only way that this thing can work. If we have a system, like I said, if we have a system, even there's a particular system that has been set up called Lacera, that all real estate agents should register there on the portal where developers will meet the buyers. You can even vet the developer before you buy. But trust me, this portal has not worked. So I don't know how it's going to be possible.
So it goes back to the government putting measures in place to ensure everything works.
In place for us to ensure that everything works. If we can have that portal ready and it's up and running, a lot will change. A lot will change.
And talking about the role of government, because at the time when when government announced that it was going to start a monthly rate, a monthly payment policy for the benefit of both the landlords and the tenants, the government said they were even going to pay that 1 year rent upfront. And so the contract for repayment was going to be between government and the tenants. I wonder why that, didn't take off. What do you think, as an insider, now what do you think could have, happened that we are yet to see that policy taking off? It seemed like a good enough plan, because government said they were going to the tenants would undergo checks. It will not all tenants will qualify for this kind of intervention, and it seemed like a good enough plan. But what do you think went wrong?
Everything still boils down to structure. We need to put the structure in place first before all these things can work. Because how do you go about talking to a landlord that is not even educated to implement all this? But all landlords that are not educated will have a lawyer, a legal department that can handle all these things together, so they can harmonize everything together. But if we don't have a good structure in place, we will not achieve it at all. And a lot of people will tell you it's not government that bought that built for me, so I have the right to do whatever I like. That is their language. And truth, nobody is feeding anybody, Nobody is buying building materials for anybody. They build themselves and they feel they have the right. Although, if a proper structure has been put in place, there will be a lot of changes.
Obviously, all fingers from what you're saying are pointing towards government not doing what it needs to do to achieving the results that we are yet to see as it stands. But let's talk about this situation that a lot of Nigerians have been speaking about, especially within Lagos, where matters of if you are not a particular tribe, if you are not married, and some of these rules and regulations that we are seeing being introduced by some agents, or they'll say that is what the landlord has said and all of that. Why are we seeing some of these things come up at this time? You see some persons are complaining about this. Can you talk to us about that?
Okay, and anyway, from my own end, that is not happening. Because even in Lekki axis, you have a lot of people that are not even Yoruba. They are not the same tribe with the developer. And they are renting houses from them. This thing started during election, and it has fizzled out immediately after election. It was during that election that there were a lot of issues about ethnicity and all that. I think that was where that thing came from. But right now, even Igbos are buying a lot of properties in Lagos. In Lagos, Nigeria, they are building, even to Ibadan, even to yealry. We have a lot of people who are not the indigenous of the same town, And you know, because you don't have to
All right.
live where you invest. You don't have to live where you invest. So a lot has been happening there. People are also buying.
Okay, we'll have to leave this conversation here now. Unfortunately, our time is up. Olubukola Oloruntoba, MD CEO, Goodly Heritage Properties, real estate broker. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on the program for today. Let's let you know that the views and reactions of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Up next is Your View with the ladies. And afterwards, this morning,